Hi, I'm William Mills. I'm here at FinovateSpring 2022, and I'm pleased to be joined by Kathy Strasser. How are you doing today, Kathy?
I'm doing great. It's good to be in California.
Isn't it great? It's beautiful weather. Well, Kathy, you're Chief Operating Officer and CIO for IncredibleBank. So, tell the folks that aren't here at Finovate, tell us about IncredibleBank.
Yeah, so IncredibleBank is headquartered in Wausau, Wisconsin. We're a $1.75 billion bank, 15 physical locations, but we have customers all over the U.S. My role as COO and CIO, I tell people I'm responsible for four things, really. First is operations, second is technology, third is people, and the fourth for me is I'm got to get everything done at our bank, make sure it gets done.
So you keep it running, huh?
That's right.
So, what's the balance for you between being, the Chief Operating Officer and the CIO? How does that work?
Yeah, well, it's changed a little bit. So I became both titles last year. And really, I was playing the role of CIO as my role as COO. But I've hired a new VP of technology, which is taking more of that technology lift from me. But my role as CIO is really being concerned about cybersecurity.
I can imagine. It's such an issue.
Yeah.
So I know you got a bunch of things going at the bank, but what are some of the key initiatives that you're actively playing a part at the bank right now? Something new, different, interesting.
Yeah, I would say for us, with the pandemic and thinking about where we shift our strategy, we are actually going to be growing our markets into new expanding markets. So one of the areas we'll be launching into is Florida. So as much as we've been about digital growth, we also strongly believe there's still a need for physical locations and having that balance. So that's one of the things, but to go with that is the technology component. We want to make sure our experience is very good for our customers. And when they need to get in touch with us, one of the things we stride ourselves on is the fact that you can get in touch with a person.
Right.
When you reach out to us.
That personal touch is just so important.
It is.
So important. Well, I believe you're going to be joining the Finovate Power Panel, Why Diversity Matters. Is that correct?
It is. I'm excited about that.
Give us some insights and thoughts that you're going to be sharing, and what do you hope to get out of that discussion?
Well, as a panel, our goal is to really leave the audience with maybe some more inspirational things to take away versus talking about the problems that we've seen with diversity and inclusion. My goal as a community bank, we're headquartered in a small town in, Wausau, Wisconsin, where I would say diversity is a challenge. So my focus, and our focus at our bank with our leadership is how do we become very intentional about diversity?
Right.
And that really starts at our board level, where even at a board level, as you're thinking about your slate of candidates, right? When you have an open position, what does that chart look like from being very intentional about gender, race, experience, age, and making sure you have a slate of candidates that you can pick from when you have the need to hire somebody, and that flows through the entire company.
Well, you've had a unique experience in your work career. If I'm not mistaken, you've worked on the financial tech company side and the bank side. How's that different and alike, or tell us about that?
Yeah, so on the technology side, we were owned by, I was in that space for 20 years, went from privately held to private equity owned to selling to publicly traded. So saw a lot of different things, and when I went to the community bank, it did feel a little bit like I stepped back in time somewhat on this topic.
Right.
And so that's been interesting for me. I've been there 7 years, so seeing our bank even shift in that time to what we are today has been fun.
Well, I'm sure it was a great asset to the bank to have someone with your experience in helping the bank move along in that area. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was the financial services space in general. How have you seen it evolve related to customer expectations over the past 5-10 years, and specifically about diversity and ESG?
Yeah, so customers, like employees, like investors or owners, they want to see that organizations are focused on this, right?
Right.
I mean, we have customers that ask, what is your board makeup?
Right.
What is the makeup of your executive team? How are you giving back to your communities and the areas of need? So, how we show up to our customers is very important. I mean, so even if you look at our website, in the images that you see, or when you come into a bank and the people that you interact with or talk to online, is very much more diverse than it ever has been before.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, so what's been driving the change at IncredibleBank, and are people keeping up?
As from a diversity and inclusion, or in general?
And in all those areas.
Yeah, I mean, what's driving that change
Right.
over time? There's just been a lot of things that have impacted us, right?
Right.
As in general in our country or the world.
Yeah.
And I would say, I know we can say a lot about the pandemic, but it has shifted the hearts and minds of people that work for us and what they expect. And we've done a lot with our team at IncredibleBank to do more training around this topic. Like,
Right.
we want our managers to have that empathy to know you as an individual,
Right.
know what makes you tick, make sure our events and things we're doing are inclusive. So we're not doing certain things that might make you feel uncomfortable. One of the things I'm trying to do is make our social events more about collaborative business events.
Right.
So it doesn't become a social, awkward situation where you might not feel comfortable.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, you related to the financial industry, specifically community banking and more. Where do you see the industry going over the next 5-10 years?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, with the economy, that's going to play a lot into, what happens with the industry. I do think, the idea of being more open to partnerships and thinking very differently about how we go to market,
Right.
and who we go to market with,
Right.
and being open, being a little bit more aggressive. I think community banks in general have to be more willing to adapt much faster and invest in things that maybe we would wait a lot longer for, to analyze the risk and make sure everything is buttoned up.
Right.
We're going to have to move a lot faster
I can
and
see
be
that.
willing to make those investments.
So in closing, if you want people that don't know your bank now to know one thing, what makes your bank special? What is the one thing you'd like people to know?
I really think that no bank will treat you better. Our name as IncredibleBank is our service model. We deliver an incredible customer experience. We have great people that
Right.
if you have a problem in your moment of need, we will be there to help you solve it. We're not going to call you back. We're going to solve it for you right now. But hopefully our technology and the tools we give you enough where you don't even need to call us, but you feel
Right.
very confident in the services that we're providing.
Well, that's very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope it's a great conference, and looking forward to your panel later. And again, we're at FinovateSpring 2020 in San Francisco. Thank you.